So, really good performance today. I used to actually teach in Rhode Island years ago. You didn't know that. I used to actually, so I knew your director when you were like in, well, 3rd and 4th grade. That way. Anyway, really well done. And there are so many things. Percussion, we're going to start with Florentiner and then go to arabesque, just letting you know. But as an ensemble, not only are you playing great music well, you're going way beyond the page, and you're playing the line through the music and inside, and you're balancing and listening to each other, and you're doing so many absolutely wonderful things. With very characteristic sounds on your instruments. Like you're everyone contributing. And I just want you to know that that is unfortunately common. And very good teaching is happening. And you're listening, and you've got great teachers. You've had great teachers, you've got great teaching, and you need to keep listening to your great teachers because they're giving you all the right things to do and asking you to do nice and the right things. So and take advantage of the fact that you have good teaching every day. Don't let that go by, and don't take that for granted. Take advantage of that every day, and keep pushing yourselves. And then don't stop playing your instrument when you leave high school. Just keep playing wherever you go. You don't have to major in music. You can do whatever you want, but keep playing your instrument. Thunderstorm. So thank you very much for great work. So my goal today is to, we're going to work on the Florentiner a little bit. You sound amazing at it, but I want to ask you questions when you do it to see if everything I think you're really doing. And then we're going to move that to arabesque, and I'm going to challenge you to the next step for you as an ensemble on arabesque as well. So we're going to start with Florentiner, but not at the very beginning. The very beginning was fine. Nice solos. Kind of got off the blocks a little slow with some of that. Those are your words. But on some of the little things, I'm not really worried about that. Let's just start at B. Let's start at B. Letter B. Beethoven. We'll play for a little bit, and I'll ask you some questions. Melody, what should it sound like at B? How should you play that melody? How are you playing that melody? You're doing a nice job of it. What are you doing? It's your turn. You're crescendoing, right? Crescendoing through the line. Yep. Playing lightly, short. That's obvious, right? It says it, but you should you're playing that right. Can I hear you do that? This is just the melody at B. 1 and 2 and direction. The slurred 16th notes, where are you arriving? Are you arriving on the downbeat of the 16ths or on the downbeat of the quarters? Quarters. Exactly right. And that, none of that's written in the music, right? So you're doing that because that makes musical sense in the line, and that's the direction the music should be going. Awesome. Tubas. Everybody playing downbeat 8th notes. How should you sound? What kind of sounds are you trying to make it?
Like an upright bass.
Like an upright bass, right? So it's not very round. Of course there's space, but they're very round, little like puffy cloud. Good, that's right. The second time at B, with this, the trombones, baritones, and others that have that counter melody, the lyrical thing, how should that sound?
Really like shaped and sort of flowing.
Flowing and shaped, I like that. Yeah, I think so. It's definitely not like this other staccato stuff, right? Let me hear you play that. Anybody who plays that half note, second time at B. 1, 2, ready, and. Can you be more exact in your change of notes? Again, exact in the change of notes. Good. And it's lyrical just in its nature, right? I would actually bring out a little bit more sound, and even on the first note, because you're the new thing. We've already heard this before. We've already heard this. It's great, and it's going to continue to be the same. But you're this new, you're like, it's like a little operetta, right? Have you had any stories that go along with this song? All right, I got a story. So Florentina March, Florence, right? There's a march in Florence. I've got a little thing. Bear with me, you know the piece. So, but all this little light stuff in the beginning, it's the whole, the town is waking up with the solos, da, 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 and then they start to be, you know, the town's all, it's like an opera or a musical, and all the townspeople are singing, and they're all excited because, like, I don't know, the Navy ship or the military or something's coming to town. They're really excited, right? Right? And then you guys are the lead male character, the tenor, the Brad Pitt of the opera world. and he's telling all those military people that they have to behave when they're in town, they have to do the right thing and all that other stuff. So he's more present in the sound, right? You come out on stage and you have to present this new lyrical melody, a little bit more manly, a little bit stronger. Can you do that? B, everybody, second time. I don't know if that's right, that's just what I. Here we go. B, you play the same, gossipy, excited, man. 1 and 2 at B, sing. That's what I did. We have to get the concert G's in tune and the downbeat of the second measure, but other than that, we're doing a nice job. Okay, really good work. So be just a little bit more present. And then this bottom, it should be interrupted. It should be a little gnarly. It should be a little, like all the townspeople are excited, and then those are all the husbands that are doing all the heavy work, you know, and they're like being told to do, yeah, bottom. They're a little bit unhappy about it. They're just waking up. They're not really excited. You just have to do the work, okay? Good. At F, here we are at F, the military comes in. And they are this low sound, right? You were all the guys from the military in town. You're really excited. You're on leave. You no longer are working. You get to go out to town and eat good food and meet all the ladies in town, all that stuff. You're very excited, right? Here we are at F. Everybody else, your background. Everybody else at F, you are the snare drum. If you don't sound exactly like the snare drum with notes, you're wrong. F. Pickups. 1, 2, 3. You know what I'm talking about? That's a big percussion moment. You're also sensitively playing. So nicely. But 1 before H, knock it out of the park. Home run. Crack! Whoa, what's going on back there? Nothing. Moving on, right? So at F, it's not aggressive sounding, right? It's happy, it's optimistic at F. Those low sounds. They're happy. They're not angry. They're excited, right? Got money in their pocket to spend. So that's the right idea. Now, my story, you don't have to have my story, but I already hear you playing with this idea of balance. We know we're important at F. We know we're accompaniment at F. We know we play with the snare drum. You are already doing these things. I'm just telling my funny story along the way. I appreciate it. Great work. Arabesque. Also great solo, wonderful sound, great beginning. We're going to skip through that so we can get everybody playing. And that sounds great. Moving on. 15, everybody. 15. So these ideas of my idea of a picture or a storyline that happens, it doesn't have to be that way, but some uniting force so that we all agree how we want to play the music. You know this music better than me. At 15, how should it sound? There's nothing too obvious.
Funky and mysterious.
Okay. Now, 15 with drive and flair. Like a dance? The beginning of a dance? Like a theme from Aladdin. Okay, great. No, this is so a dance. festive, like a theme from Aladdin, right? It's Lebanese, I believe, right? Isn't it a Lebanese type of dance? That's, I believe, why he wrote it. Sam Hazel's Lebanese, and this is, I think, to his mother. And so it's got that folkish, mid-Eastern sound to it. Yes? So these are what we should make it sound like. Yes?
Sounds like a camel walking.
Camel walking in the desert. I love it. Here we are, 15. 15. Ready? 1, 2, 15, and. Dance. Sounds right. Sounds right. What's the most important thing right at 15? The percussion. Percussion. In the third measure, what happens? Who comes in? Who joins you in the third measure? Bass line. Playing it really well. Got a good dance to it. The rests kind of end up buoyant, you know. It's a good folk dance. I like it. Good, good. Then who comes in? The flutes, right? And they all come in together, and then what happens?
And then everything.
And some of them go up from there. So they kind of all start together, and then they branch into like a trio of angelic, dancing, folkish things. This is all good. You make those sounds, that's wonderful. Flutes, oboe. What happens once you hit that last long note during the rest where you're supposed to go to niente? Who enters? Who's the most important part? Is it the trumpets? Is it the clarinets? This moment, measure 23, I as an audience member sometimes have a hard time deciding what I should be listening to. So at this moment we're all playing. There is a most important line, I think. And then the flutes will come back in and clarinets come back in and kind of add to that line. You'll kind of hear the new seasoning, the new flavor on the top of that line. But I need that line that enters there that's the strongest to be the strongest. He hasn't helped you. He's written everybody's mezzo forte at 23. But everybody cannot play mezzo forte at 23. So there needs to be a lead sound. I'm not telling you who it is. I want you to tell me what you're playing. What's the most important thing in 23? Here we go, 15. You're in charge, not your band. 15, ready? Aim. Trumpets. They were like, we've got this. You will not have to ask twice. Good. Now, here's what I really want to have happen. I want the trumpets to go back how they played it before, but I want everybody else that's not the trumpets or the trumpet line, it's also in the bassoons, tenor saxophone, horn, 1, kind of horn 2, on and off, and baritone. They're actually all the melody, right? They're all the melody. I don't want you to play louder than mezzo forte. I want everybody else to listen. So that when the flutes and clarinets come back in 3 before 27, and they kind of flavor the melody, that they don't have to try to compete to play louder than the melody. They just bring out those fast notes, come back on the trills, bring out the triplets, and they kind of interject their little moments. And we get kind of a dance between the two melodies, with everybody else being more background. You are now not Brad Pitt, you are the extras in the background of the shopping center. Here we go. Everybody right at it, right on 23. Right at 23. Mezzo forte is the strongest sound in the room. Suspended cymbal, that was a great erotic. We are 4 before 27. 2, dance, lead. That's already different. Low brass would you do differently in 27 through whatever that we just play that you did differently than on stage? You played a little bit softer.
And then we came out at the line.
At the moving line. And why did you do that differently here?
Because we were more aware of it.
That's right, and that was awesome. That was great. Can I hear 27 if you're the melody? If you're playing the melody at 27, play now. 1, 2, melody, and. Come in later, but you join the melody, right? Let's do it again. Everybody, they're only mezzo forte, maybe a little forte mixed in towards the end. And they're playing it just right. I have one challenge for you though. Can you play the low notes as strong as the high notes? You're letting your instrument control you. So when it's the high E's and D's and F's, they come out really strong, right? But when they're the low E's and F's, they're... But if you're going to be the melody the whole time, you need to really push on the lower notes. You don't have to make the higher notes stronger, and you don't even have to come back, but more of the low notes. Yeah, that's not easy. 27, melody, 2, Good, that's right. If you can't hear them, you're too loud, no matter what your music says. 27, if you can't hear them in front of you, you're too loud. 1 and 2, everybody, 57. Woodwinds with all your trills, and they're really high notes, and they say get louder. Who's the melody this whole time after you're done? Low brass. Yes. Even though it only says mezzo forte and I were playing low brass, I would play louder than what I said forte earlier. They're doing a great job, but you could definitely beat them with all of your really high notes and your trills, but you shouldn't. So less of you, if you can't hear them, you're too loud. This is our next step, right? We're going beyond the music, like you did in Florentiner. In Florentiner, you shaped the phrase through the music. You knew when you were important, but that piece is easier. There are only 2 parts. The technique it takes to play that piece is way less difficult. It's fun. It's more simple. This piece, you've got to play screaming high notes on the piccolo underneath the tubas in volume. It's not easy. That's exactly right. So, what I hear you doing and the great teaching you have and all the things you're doing are awesome until it's difficult. Which, duh, it's difficult, Dr. H. Duh, it's really hard. I know. But you have to play like you know what's important and you get out of it. Just like you did in the Florentiner and you did in Poem. Is it Poem? Poem. I like Poem. It sounds fancy. But this piece, you have to play in the stratosphere, you have to play really fast low notes, and so I hear us not able to adjust. And so that's what we're working on, and we're going to spend our last 6 minutes doing the same thing. So here we are, 27 again. Woodwinds lead, then it's the low brass that lead until 35. And then low brass at 35, suddenly your background. And the woodwinds take over. And then the trumpets take over. And then the woodwinds take over, trumpets. And it's all only forte. There's yet to be a fortissimo. Thou shalt bring everything lower. Here we go. 27. 27. 27. I'm not asking them all to be louder. I'm asking everybody else to be shutty. 1 and 2. 27. Balance. Not that much different, is it? But it makes all the difference to me in the room. Trumpets, I want you to do a little bit more leadership, maybe not in volume when you come in there at before 41, but almost more articulate. You see those accents? Ta 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 ti ta. More of that. That'll make everybody in the audience listen to you. Okay, now 41, our first fortissimo. But before we play that, so I don't get yelled at when we're What is the biggest moment in the piece? Percussion. What is the strongest, the biggest arrival that Mr. Hazel has written for everybody to do? Yes?
The very last note.
The very last note. That is true. Where's the second strongest arrival? No, that's right, there's 4 of them. Well, goodness gracious, there are 4 F's there. Wowza. But where's kind of the really big, where are we going? We're building all the way to a what measure, everyone? Majestic, 111. Let me hear you play at 111. And can you play majestically? Not 3 F's lead. Majestically. Your best sound. Your best, biggest, sustainable sound. 1, 2, sustaining. Does it usually sound that way? Are you usually thinking that majestic? I heard way more round, full sounds and not such pointed accents. The accents are there, but they're not quite the same, right? Now, what's the melody in there? What's the most important thing? Same thing. Here's what I think it is. It's not any one part. It's everything when it moves. And when it's static, it's not that it's less, it just doesn't come out of the texture. So I want you to all maintain that great sound, but when you have those little rips or those accents or those flares of 32nd notes or 8th notes, there's more of you. And when you're sustaining, you're more in the rich, soupy sound of the beautiful, majestic sound. You're not coming through. 111. You ready? And. There are moments you're playing 3 F's minus, and then there are moments you're playing 3 F's plus, right? The 8th notes, the 16ths, I love that. Now let's get into that spot. So he's going to yell at me if I'm not done soon. My whole point about this is you have too many arrivals that are all the same volume. And if that's the biggest moment in the piece, then that has to be our biggest arrival, no matter how many F's, accents, punches there are before that. So let's start before 111. Let's start, do you have each measure number? Okay. Let's go back to 88. I see piano. Then I see only mezzo forte. Right? This is a repeat from the beginning. It should be simple. I see forte. At 100, I only see forte as a dynamic. Life begins at forte, this piece. Then I only see fortissimo 3 before 111, and then there's a crescendo into 111. Patience with the volume, my young ones. Here we go. 88. 1 and 2. Not too much too soon. So you use your articulation to fool everybody that you're loud. And you know what I heard at 106 and 107? I heard the melody this time. I heard all the woodwinds doing all the things they've been doing on stage that I watched, but I got to hear. and I'm being funny about that. But really, we're out of each other's way. We're being patient. We're waiting. We're bringing out the moments. That's awesome. And this is a much tougher piece to do that. And I know it feels really good to play loud. I know, I love it. I'm a trumpet player, so I understand. I like it, I love it. But this piece needs your patience in your very aged, old playing style of delayed gratification for the audience. Otherwise, by the time we got to 111, you tried to bring more, and you went over the top. The wave broke, and it wasn't this beautiful thing. It was just surf splashing. And I was like, wow! It was a lot of sound. So patience, accent, articulate, bring up that moment. Then you get to come back down again, and then the end, go for it. Anyway, that's some of the thoughts I have, bringing all that listening and great patience and awareness you have in the other pieces to arabesque, which is much harder individually, which makes you turn your ears off, turn your eyes on, do what's on the page, and I want you to turn those ears back on and listen to everybody around you. What a wonderful group. Great. Thank you very much for your time today.